Good afternoon. My name is Alena Shautsova. I am an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. Today I would like to tell you about how to prepare for your marriage-based interview. When a a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident sponsoring non-resident into the United States, a couple will be called for an immigration interview. This interview usually is designed to test whether the couple has a real relationship and whether the non-citizen can in fact become a resident in the United States. So I would say that this interview always consists of two parts. During the first part, the officer is determining whether the couple has a real marriage. And during the second part, the officer has to determine and question the non-citizen whether that non-citizen can adjust the status to one of the lawful permanent resident. And right now we're talking about the I-130 interview and I-45 interview that take place usually at the same time during the adjustment of status procedure, opposed to the consular interview that takes place overseas. So what do you need to do when you receive a notice for the interview? Number one, you need to collect all the originals of the documents that you submitted to the United States. Marriage certificate, birth certificates for the children, social security card if you received one already, certificate of naturalization for the citizen if the citizen became a citizen through naturalization, passports, employment authorization cards. Those are the usual originals that you need to bring. If you ever had any criminal trouble, you will need to bring certificates of disposition for those criminal charges. It's very important that you bring originals of those dispositions to the interview, even if you already submitted the originals with your package. Very often officers will ask for the originals at the interview. Sometimes they misplace them, sometimes those originals go somewhere else. In my experience, it's always good to have those originals available. Number two, you're going to collect and bring to the interview all the documents that you accumulated from the time you submitted your package until the time of the interview. Documents that prove real marriage. What are those documents? Usually, this would be statements from the joint bank account, billing for the utilities, maybe it's a life insurance policy, copy of the life insurance policy, health insurance, car insurance policies, copies of the reservations for vacations and trips together, and many other documents, any other documents that you can think about that will help to prove that you guys do share life together, do share residence together, share your life together. That's very important. Number three, and very important, you should practice with your partner answering very common, popular questions at the interview. Online, there are many forums that discuss what questions are usually asked and answered during the interview. You can hire an attorney to prepare you for that. But don't assume that just because you live with your partner, it will be easy for you to answer the questions. Sometimes people in normal life, they do not think about memorizing certain dates that will be very important during the interview. You're expected to know the date of your marriage. You're expected to know the date of your partner's birthday, of the children's, maybe stepchildren's birthdays, their names, names of the parents. You're expected to know the addresses where your partner lived before you guys started dating and before you started living together. So allocate some time to go over these questions. It's very important. And of course, if there are any other extra issues that you might think about, issues with your entry, issues with employment, or any other things that you may think will affect your eligibility for the green card, it's better if you consult with an attorney prior to going for the interview. Now, this is a regular preparation, but there is one type of interview, at least in New York, it's called Stokes interview, where you will need to prepare much more seriously and extensively for. During the usual marriage interview, a couple will be in the same room together when the officer is questioning them. But during the Stokes interview, or it may have a different name in different states, interview where the immigration is testing if they have some kind of a suspicion that the marriage is not real, the husband and the wives, the spouses, will be separated and will be questioned extensively and separately in different rooms. This is a different type of the interviews that a marriage couple may go through. And if the couple fails that interview, most likely there will be fraud charges against the couple, marriage fraud charges, and the non-citizen will be placed into deportation. But this is not a regular interview. This is an interview, usually the second interview, after the couple failed the first one. Sometimes what happens is that the couple gets married while the non-citizen is placed in removal proceedings, or when the person with the order of deportation marries a U.S. citizen and files, and the citizen files I-130 form, and there is an interview for that. During those types of interviews, officers usually going to be more thorough. It is because the law demands them to be so, and some extra evidence will have to be placed in the file before an officer can grant that I-130. But again, it's a slightly different proceedings. So, as I said, those three things you need to remember during the regular interview to prepare for: originals of the documents, new documents proving real marriage, and you need to practice with your partner. You can learn more information about the interview and what to expect on our website, www.shautsova.com. Thank you.